Hello. We're back up top now. We've taken the bones out. This is the bone that was in between the really big one and the bison vertebrae. We think it's the top of a mammoth ulna, and this would probably be the slot where the radius would fit in.
Is that the forearm?
Yes, that would be sort of like, I guess, like here for us. But yeah, we've given it a wash, given it a bit of a bath. It's important we get all the dirt off, and then it'll be left to dry now. It's important that the bone is dry when we start conserving it. As you can see, we've got lots of cracks starting to, well, it was like this when we excavated it, opening up. As it dries, those cracks will get worse. So what we do is we put something called Palaeo in it, and Palaeo is basically this sort of like chemical solution, almost adhesive, but it's a reversible adhesive, which is quite nice, which means that even if you make a mistake or if it's something that can be a short-term fix, you can go back in on and like undo it to then redo it better later if you need to. And what we'll do is we'll pipette probably maybe a 3% or 5% of the solution. That basically just means it's really liquidy, it's not very viscous. And because of that, it means that it can be sort of using a pipette pumped into these cracks. So it'll go down deep inside the cracks in the bone. And then when that dries, it can hold and consolidate the bone together and stop cracks like these forming. And also just keep the general inside structural integrity of the bone very nice. But before we can do that, the bone needs to dry out first.
And then is that everything until it goes to a museum?
Yes. Before it goes to a museum, all that stuff needs to happen. If there's any, for example, I mean, it's a bit different for this one, but we have other pieces where we have them in fragments. Those will need to be glued back together as the bone would have been in life. And then, yeah, it's ready for display or storage in a museum or used in research, wherever it's needed to be, basically. It needs to be cleaned, for the Palaeo, but also it allows us to see the structure of the bone a lot better. When they come out of the ground, they can be sort of covered, I mean, you probably saw it covered in mud and just dirt and stuff. And a lot of times when we see it in the ground, we go, oh, it's this thing. And actually we take it up top and we clean it off. And it turns out to be something else because we couldn't see certain aspects of the bone because it was covered by mud. So that's another important part of getting that cleaned up. And also, a museum doesn't really want a dirty bone. They want a nice, clean, prepped bone that's ready to be displayed and to be stored. That's not going to crumble or crack or anything. So yeah, and we get cleaned first thing when we come back up because usually the drying out process takes like a day or two to get the bone completely dry. And if you want to wash it with water, you might as well do that as soon as it's come out of the ground. So then you've got by the next day you can just get on with the prep or the conservating, or maybe another day depending on how thick the bone is and how long it's taken to dry, and the weather as well.